to Revelations of a Delusional Knitter. This is episode 109. It is Thursday, January 22nd, 2015, and I am Angela, your host. On to updates and housekeeping. Welcome if you are new. If you are returning, I thank you as always, and either way, I hope you enjoy the episode. And you can use iTunes or YouTube or the website, delusionalknitter.com, to watch the podcast. Somehow you found it this way, didn't you? You can also leave reviews and comments on there. And if you're a member of Ravelry, come on over and join the Ravelry board where we can chat. Week in review. Let's see. Well, it's 2 weeks, really. I should probably change that to something else because it's not a week. The other week, when I had my other days off, I went to lunch with some of my former coworkers, and that was nice. What I was trying to do, because where I used to work was the next town over from where I used to live. My friend, who's the mechanic, has the shop there in the town I used to live in. And I refuse to go to anybody else. So, I have to drive 45 minutes when I need work on my truck. And I was trying to align that with him being there on one of my days off so I could get my truck looked at. So that finally happened after like 2 months or something. So I did that, and I should have brought my phone in here. Well, whatever, you don't really need to see it. I took a picture of what was wrong with my truck, which is scary. So I drive a pickup, and it's old now. I've owned it for a couple of years now since I've paid it off. And I didn't even buy it new, I bought it used. And it's just rusting out. The poor thing is just completely rotting out. The bed in the back and the wheel wells are rotting out. I mean, if you looked at it, you wouldn't really see anything, but I know it's there. And if you look really closely at it, then you can start to see these things. But, so I think this was a lot longer than I thought it was, too. There was a big bang in the back when I went over bumps, or it took corners. And I assumed it was because the bed was rotting out, that there was just a chunk that was, just smashing against the frame and not attached anymore. So I'm late, of course, because I always am, because I don't get up early ever. I work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I've never been a morning person. So I'm running late. So I do 75 down the highway to bring my truck to him. And then he puts it up on the lift, and we hear boom, boom! And we were both like, oh, and I was like, I told you there was a bag in the back. So we walk around the back and look. One of the leaf springs. So on a truck, you have the rear axle, and there's leaf springs that kind of go like this and cup the axle, and that's what supports the axle. The shackles, which are brackets that hold that on, one had completely rusted out, was like gone. All you could still see were the bolts, and the other one was still attached, but it was really, really rusty. So the one that had broken, when he put the truck up on the lift, the leaf spring went boom, just like it did when I was driving it around. So, yeah, and then here I am doing 75 on the highway trying to get there. Oh, lucky I'm not dead. Anyway, so that got fixed, which was good, and it was crazy because with the truck on the ground, the leaf spring bolt was just smashing against the frame. When he put the shackles back on, they're like this big. They're like 4 or 5 inch shackles, and I was like, whoa! So that whole piece had just rotted away. Oh, and he did the other one because it wasn't, too long before that one was going to rot out too. But much nicer ride now. I've been driving it like that for like months, like I said. Because I think when it first happened, or started to happen, when you're driving something every day and it slowly erodes, you don't realize it anymore. So I'm like, but in my defense, although I'm a stupid idiot still driving it around, but in my defense, I knew there was something wrong with it because I kept saying, man, this thing's driving terrible. It's riding horribly. I don't know if my shocks in the back are frozen or something. Whatever, it's all fixed now. Rides much, much nicer. It's a lot higher now. It feels a lot higher. I felt like the back end was dragging all the time, which technically it was. So, yeah. And then I went to lunch with a couple of them while I was waiting for my truck, so that was nice, because my coworkers came and picked me up down the street, and we went to lunch. And so that was a nice time, and I'm glad my truck is fixed now, because that was awful. I couldn't believe it when he put it up on the lift. I was like, oh my god, I've been driving it around like that. And it got to the point where, because I told him, I was like, we really need to set something up, because you gotta look at this. It got to the point where when I took corners, I could actually feel the back go boom, boom, and that's what it was, because nothing was attached anymore. So, but yeah, I was worried, because like that's what happened too. I got there at like 10 or something, and then he had to go get parts and get the old ones out, which are all rusted and stuck together, and this, that, and the other thing. So, and that's what I was figuring. If I go before work, I have to work at 3, even if I go at like 9 o'clock, if it's something like that, I'm never going to make it back here to work on time. There's no way. That's why I was waiting for a day off that coincided with one of his days off, because he is a full-time mechanic at a dealership, and on the side he has his own shop. So, yeah. I'm glad that finally worked out. Oh, I have a note here because I totally forgot on the last episode to show you something. Around, it wasn't for Christmas, but it was around Christmas time. One of my coworkers came in. She was one of the ones I worked 11 to 7 with during that 2-month period when somebody was out. Came in and she hands me a little bag, and I was like, "What is this?" And she was like, "Just open it." I saw it and I thought of you, and she got me a little grumpy cat. Oh my god, it made me laugh so hard. Because one night we were just bored and goofing off on the internet, and grumpy cat, and I was like, oh my god, I love that cat. I was like, I'll tell you, if I had that cat in my house, I would just be laughing all day, all the time. Look at that face. So she was out shopping for like Christmas and stuff or whatever, and she saw that, and she was like, oh my god, I have to get that for her. So it was so funny. She had put, it's still up there. We have lockers in the back of Dispatch, and we put funny stuff up, tease each other, put funny stuff up on people's lockers. And one day I came in, it was near Christmas time, and it's Grumpy Cat with a Santa hat on, and it's like the song, and it says, "It's beginning to feel a lot like F this." I said the word, and I was like, oh, that's perfect, I love it. So yeah, it's funny. We do have fun sometimes there. Alright, let's move on to Revelations. The Knitters Guild Association Master Hand Knitter Program Level 1. Like I said before, I did send in my whole submission. I got it back, and I need to resubmit some things. So far, I'm pretty sure I'm done redoing all the questions that I had to work on. And I just have one other question, but it relates to the mitten that I have to redo and submit, so I'm going to just hold off on that question until I redo I know the answer. As I know I have to reknit the mitten, and I know why, because I said that before too. Before I sent it in, I was just done with doing it, and I didn't want to do it anymore. So that's good, because then I just have 3 swatches and the mitten, and then I can resubmit it and hopefully pass, and then move on to level 2 whenever. The sock yarn blanket I haven't knit any more on since the last episode, so that's that. The penguin pillow, I got quite a bit done. I'm really hoping that I can get the penguin pillow and a sockhead hat done by February 21st, like I said before, because we're going to see our friends and their gifts for them, so I'm hoping I'm done. So, for the penguin pillow, I have the front white done. Yay! And this is how much yarn I had left. This is a kit. This is nuts, right? Because my tail is not that long. This is my tail from casting on. And this is how much yarn I had left over. I did weave this in, by the way, because I didn't want it to come undone. So it's woven through like a whopping 3 stitches. And this is how much I have left. That's not enough for a kit. There's no way everybody is making this work with just that one ball of yarn. I don't see that happening. So the front is done. And I started on the back piece that goes with it. And the funny thing is, I'm pretty sure the pattern says to leave a long enough tail to sew these seams up. With what? Like, there's not enough yarn left to knit a tail. Obviously, I'm going to have to sew the seams in with one of the other colors, but it's like, it's silly. I think that's a little silly. So I started the back, which this piece is just going to be identical to that other one. It's just black, because it's penguin. So hopefully this piece is done soon. We do have knit night tonight, so I'm hoping I can finish up this piece during that tonight. And then what I'm going to do is these 2 pieces go together, and then you start knitting them around. The top for black for like the head part, and then make wings and feet and stuff like that. And so that should be done. So I'm pretty sure I can finish by the 21st. It's whether or not I can get a sockhead hat done as well that I'm not so sure of. what else have I... That's pretty much all I've been knitting on, like I said, because I'm trying to get those done. Except for some design work, which I will show you a little bit later. The socks I was working on before. Here's the socks I was working on before. Might have gotten a little angry. So, I was doing Wendy Johnson's Toe-Up Socks with a Difference, which I love, and I've made a few times now, and they fit wonderfully. And I had said, normally though I cast on less stitches than she does, because I have pointy toes and skinny feet. Why I thought making the pattern to her specifications, which has a much squarer, wider toe, was a good idea at all, I have no clue. They seem to fit fine, but I made them to the normal size I usually make them, but with a much wider toe, which was dumb. I probably could have gotten away with starting the heel turn sooner so that they were technically shorter, but had a wider toe so they still would have fit. I did not. I made them the normal size I usually make them, and they were humongous. They were way, way too big. So this is what happened to them. Kind of in a fit of rage. That's all I have to say. I will probably end up using that pattern again for these, but I'm going to do them the way I usually do. I should go back, I hope. I mean, it's not a big deal. I'm pretty sure I cast on 8 stitches per needle, magic loop, to do my toes. But I don't know if I ever put it in any of my project notes for the previous socks that I've done with this pattern. Probably going to end up doing the same exact pattern with these, but I was just so... And they're toe up, so it's not like I could rip out some and redo them. It all started with the toe, and that was the big problem. So they are now in this form. So I did order and received a couple of weeks ago. I had one set of Addy sock rockets just because at one point I wanted to try them, so I just ordered one. And I like to do socks on separate needles, but at the same time, so that way they're done at the same time. I just keep alternating which one I'm working on when I work on them. So I did order another set of sock rockets so that I can do them both at the same time. That was the other thing and why I ripped these out. Remember those weird blackthorn needles, the carbon needles that I was using that a lot of people complained about? They were starting to annoy the bejesus out of me, especially around the heel. So that's also why I think I just ripped these out, because I just was done with them and they were not coming out well at all in any way, shape, or form. So I just ripped them out. So that's that, and that's pretty much all I've been knitting or unknitting recently. String theory, I have nothing. I do have, though, this room is an absolute disaster. Good thing the camera frame's only like this big. When we had the construction down in the basement, we knew we were having construction down in the basement for a long, long time. So as I have accumulated things over the last several months, it's all been staying in here because I knew they were going to be ripping out all the sheetrock in the basement. Why would I put it down there? The stuff that was already down there was in plastic bins, so it was fine, and they covered everything with a tarp before when they were ripping stuff out, so nothing got in there or anything. But nothing was put away where I usually put stuff away. It's all just been accumulating in this room. That closet is so bad right now, I really have to, like, brace myself when I open the door because I know something's coming flying at my head. Most of it's yarn or fiber, so it's okay. Won't cause any major injury, but something's coming flying out at me when I open that door. So I went to Walmart the other day and I got 2 more bins, which probably isn't even enough because I've already filled one right before I started recording, just to get stuff out of here so I can actually clean up the room, because it's got so much clutter in it right now. I can't even clean the room because if I turn around, something is going flying off of something. So just to clean up the closet a bit and just get stuff out of here for now. I can put it downstairs now because it's cleaned up and everything's fine. I grabbed 2 of those bins and I'm trying to organize this and clean it up because I cannot stand it anymore. Has to do with string theory because I can't spin in here. I can't pull a wheel over here because there's not even enough room. I can use spindles, obviously, because those are more compact, but where's my fiber? I don't know. I mean, I know where it is, but it's buried now in the closet in there, because usually what I do is I have some stuff I know I'm going to work on soon. I'll keep it, like, loose or just toss it in the, you know, on top of the bins in the closet. There's so much stuff in there right now, I can't even find anything. For example, one of the Ravelry boards I'm a member of is called Spinner Study Group. They pick a particular fiber a month to work with. This month is Angora. I know I have Angora. I know exactly where it is. Probably take me 45 minutes to get it out of the closet. And, meanwhile, I don't even know if I can get the door open enough to get everything out of there and pull it out. So, that's going to happen. I did have to grab a mailing envelope out of there earlier today, and I did see a big binder, a 3-ring binder in there, so I might start trying to do a spinning journal like I was talking about before, because you don't have to buy anything. There's a binder right there. I know I have sheet protectors, you know, and stuff, and paper. Got plenty of that, so I might just try and start one. Let's see, scrolls. I do have a little book review for you today. It's not, you know, fancy. I didn't even go through it or write anything down. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. And it is The Knitter's Handy Book of Patterns by Ann Budd. And first and foremost, as is usually one of my favorite things with knitting books or technique books, it's spiral bound, it lays flat, and it's a hardcover too. And what this book is several different types of patterns, all written out for different gauges. They're very simple patterns. However, if you would like to, you can embellish them on your own, because you already have all the numbers you need. So, let's see what's in here. Mittens, gloves, hats, tams, scarves, socks, vests, and sweaters. So for example, you might need to check a few things if you're going to do like lace or cables, but if you're doing a fairly simple stitch pattern, you can just plug it right into what's in here. And it's pretty awesome, because right now, I'll show you in a little bit, I'm designing some flip-top convertible mittens. Totally just took the mitten pattern out of here and altered it the way I needed to, but all the numbers for the gauge were in here, so I could do 3 sizes without doing any math at all, because it was already all right here. And I knit one of the sizes and it's coming out perfectly fine, so it's good. So in addition to that, here, I'll show you the mitten pattern actually. So what you have here is you have, you know, mittens, and then you have an explanation of the basic anatomy of a mitten, so it's going to tell you all of the different portions that you're going to have to work if you want to make a mitten. And then it goes in to tell you the materials you'll need, and this is just a continuation of the anatomy of a mitten. Then you have the pattern here, so all you do, there's a gauge right there, they're all tables, as you can see. So you find your gauge on the table and your size on the table. You just plug all of those numbers into the following directions. And it comes out wonderfully. And then at the end of the pattern, they all have a schematic with the measurements, and then they have a bunch of quick like tips and tricks, different things you can do. You know, for example, in mittens, it's talking about changing the ribbing to something else, neatening up the gaps at the thumb gusset with the tail yarn, and things like that. So, you know, if you wanted to do a fingerless mitt, just stop knitting here and bind off, kind of things. So it's got all those different types of garments and accessories with patterns like that, with all the tables for all the gauges and all the sizes, all worked out. So all you do is you grab it and you start your project if you know your gauge. You need to know your gauge. That's the main part of the book, is it's all based on gauge, so if you don't know your gauge, then you can't use it at all. But even for these mittens, though, I kind of guessed at the gauge, because I knew what yarn I was doing it in, and I knew what needles I was going to do it in, and I know I pretty much get exactly ball band gauge most of the time, but it's usually a range, but I knew I'm going like right smack in the, actually I usually knit a little bit tighter, but I know that, so I know I'm going to use the smaller needle on the ball band, but I'm going to get the higher number of stitches per inch on the ball band, because I know that's just how it works for me. So I just went with that and started the mitten, and I got that gauge, and everything was all set. Not, I would recommend you did a gauge swatch before you picked which numbers to follow, but it's a really awesome, awesome book, and I really am loving it. And it's, you know, just for knitting in general, fabulous, but even more so fabulous for designing because all this math is already done for me. So it comes from Interweave. The price on this says $24.99, but I know I got it from like Knit Picks or Amazon or something on sale. I think I only paid like $14 or $15 for it. So yeah, highly, highly recommend this book. It's a really fabulous book. Alright, Testaments. I have nothing. I don't think I bought anything recently. Let's hope not, right? As I'm stuffing things into bins because I don't even have enough room in this room anymore. Intentions, Delusional Knitter Designs group. Like I was talking, I'm working on some flip top mitts right now. So I'm using Knit Picks Chroma. And I have one mitt pretty much done. I just need to do the flip top. So I have, and weave in some ends obviously, right? So I have the thumb flip done, and I'm going to have to put the flip top on this side. What's irking me a little bit about this one, this was the first one I did, which did not come out okay for various reasons, so I fixed the pattern and did it again. And you can see the colors here, right? And now, this is a single yarn, so if I absolutely have to, I can rip this out, but it's already getting a little ridiculous because I already ripped it out a couple of times to rework the pattern and fix things up. So those are the two first, these first came out of the ball of yarn, right? Then I finally got the pattern all set to what I like and decided that I would rather knit the next mitt and then do both tops afterwards and be done. So I knit the next mitt. Look at the color. Completely different. So I don't know what's, I mean, I know it's a gradient, but that's just crazy because the way the other two looked, I just assumed that this one was going to look similar, but it does not at all. So what I figured I would do is I'm even happier that I made this second mitt after, and I kind of did it on purpose because I could see that this was not looking the same. So I did this mitt first. I'm going to do this mitt, and I'm going to do this flip top. Then I'm going to do this flip top, and I hope they're just like kind of reversed so it looks like I did it on purpose. I don't know. Or they're going to look completely different, and it is what it is. I don't know, but that was weird. Thought that was a little strange. Let's see. So that should be done very soon because actually once I knit one of the flip tops, then I'll be comfortable with putting the pattern out for test knitting. So far, this worked out, the two different hands worked out perfectly fine, the fingers worked out fine, everything else worked out fine. So I just want to do one flip top and then I will put that up for test knitting. Hearsay. Let's see. I did put on the Ravelry board a favorites knitting related websites that people can share with each other where your favorite websites are, what they are, or blogs or whatever you always keep returning to get knitting techniques and stuff like that. So check that out. Let's see, the seasonal socks under knit along. I mailed prizes today, finally. And that's still going on till March 19th for the current session. The Finish Him knit along. I got confirmations for a couple of prizes so far from donators. That's awesome. And one is going to be winner's choice, so I won't have anything here to show you because she's going to send it to the winner herself, which is awesome because then they can pick whatever they want. And this is from Morning Bright Yarn. Becky has donated winner's choice of her holistic merino base in the winner's choice of weight and colorway. So just as an example, I'll show you, this is her Etsy shop, so you can see some of her stuff there, and you can go check that out too and take a look at it yourself. And very nice of Becky. And then Daisy from Art Institute of Chicago sent us a bag. And I have my bag here, which my husband got me for my birthday, that I'm pretty sure I've shown before, which is a Nightmare Before Christmas bag, of course, right? And lots of purple, of course, right? This is my bag. This is my bag. The bag for the knit along is this lovely Day of the Dead print. Same bag as mine, it's just a different print, but it's the same size. She sent the medium size, so that was really awesome. And then she sent some matching skull stitch markers. So it's very cool. So thank you very much to Daisy. And here's her card. She is also on Etsy. And so that's awesome. And I have some more stuff coming as well. So those are our knit-alongs. Let's see, Ravelry patterns. I do have some Ravelry patterns for this episode. And I have a runny nose as usual. When do I not have a runny nose? Always. Alright, let's see. The first one is, there's really nothing to look at, but I found it, and I ordered yarn for it, which is just ridiculous, but it is a crochet along 2015. It's called Sophie's Universe, and what she does is, it's not squares. Last year she had done squares. This year it's one continuous square, so you're just crocheting around, you know, the one that's already there. So, just as an example, it's kind of along the lines of this, but this was one she did last year. This is one square from the last year's ones, just to give you an idea. Like, she does stuff like that. It's really pretty fancy and pretty cool. So, I ordered yarn for that because I don't have, you know, multiple colors like that in all the same weight or anything like that, so I did order yarn for that. I ordered Stylecraft DK. No. Yeah. I don't even know what I ordered. I'm pretty sure it was Stylecraft DK. That's something we really can't get around here. And I found a US distributor, so I ordered it from there. That should be coming soon. The other one is Argo, the Amigurumi sheep. This was just so cute. So that's a crochet pattern also. It was just so cute. I found that through the Hogwarts at Ravelry. Somebody did it for one of the things. That is $3. The crochet along is free. And Smog, the African flower dragon. Now, I'm not going to do this anytime soon, but I strive and aim to be able to do this someday. Is that not flippin' awesome? The thing's huge, too. It's like 2 feet long or something. It's crazy. But that is also crochet. You crochet up all the African flower squares, or hexagons, or triangles, or whatever you need for the shaping, and then you put them all together. And that one's $7. But I would really love to do that one of these days. That little beep means my camera's going to shut off any second now, so I have to pause here and come back. And we're back. I don't know why, well, it is what it is. The camera will only record for 29 minutes at a time. And I don't believe it's a setting or anything, because I asked my camera guru friend about it. He's got the same camera, and he knows a lot more about cameras than I do. And I think it's just like the built-in memory or something can only handle 29 minutes of a file size that it can dump onto the card. But I started, I don't know if you noticed, but I started talking really fast because I was trying to beat the clock. Doesn't happen. It's always easier for me to edit and render the file if it's one file, but I don't know when, like 1 in 50 episodes is less than 29 minutes. I don't know why I bother anymore. I should really just give up and just break it up into different segments and whatever. So, that's that. So, those are your Ravelry patterns. And yeah, I bought all the yarn for that blanket. Absolutely crazy. But whatever, I wanted to do it. So, and what stinks is, I think it went January to May, so she's releasing clues every week. So now I'm behind, right? It's like the end of January now. I think I can catch up, but she's doing a lot of like advanced techniques for crochet, which I can crochet, you know, single crochet and double crochet, so this should be interesting. Should be really interesting. What I figured was, worst case scenario, if I don't end up doing the blanket, that yarn I can use for a lot of like the toys and stuffies that I want to do in the future, and I got a lot of different colors for the blanket, so I'll still have a use for the yarn. But that's that. So, and yeah, I'd really love to do that Smog one of these days. I did see somebody did it in, actually I'll pull it up for you. Somebody did it in Knit Picks palette, So that would be pretty inexpensive to get the yarn for that. Because it does say you can use sock yarn like scraps, but I don't think I want to do that because I really like the ones that have like a cohesive color scheme and aren't just like all your random bits of yarn. Although that would probably still look cool as well, but there were a couple of purple ones that people did. Of course, I'm going to do a purple one. You knew that, right? So, that were really awesome. And I think, yeah, this one's really cool. I might not do the pink. I might pick, you know, a different contrasting color. But even so, even with this pink, it looks really cool. Here's a purple one that somebody did. That was really, really cool. And yeah, Knit Picks palette, I want to say, is like $1.99 a ball or something. I'm not sure how many balls you need to finish that, but I still don't think it would be very expensive to do it in that. Let's see, Delusional Jabber. Reading, I'm still on Looking for Alaska, by the way. I realized when I edited the last podcast, I kept calling it Finding Alaska, which is not the name of the book at all. It's Looking for Alaska by John Green. I'm still on that one. It's almost the end of the month, too. I'm already so behind on everything this year. Hopefully I can finish that one up soon. TV, really nothing. I really haven't watched anything. I was getting caught up on podcasts, so getting back into podcasts. Because I went to look at some of my favorites, and they already had like 4 or 5 episodes out. And I was like, whoa! Because, yeah. And I don't know why, a lot of times I sit here in the morning. I say morning because I go to work at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so my morning is really like 11 a.m. And I'm knitting or designing or doing something in here with nothing going on. And I'm like, why are you not, you know, watching? Because you don't even have to watch them, really. You can listen. I'm sure a lot of you just listen to me and are doing something else. But I keep forgetting to put on like a podcast or something while I'm sitting in here. So I want to get back into that. And what else? Work. I'm very glad today. Well, today's my second day off, so I have to go back to work tomorrow. But oh boy, did I need these days off this week. Oh, we had 2. I'm not telling you anything that was not published in newspapers already, by the way. So I'm not, you know, disseminating anything I'm not supposed to be. We had 2 robberies the last 4 days I worked. Oh, those are stressful calls because you have somebody who just got robbed. Usually we never get called while they're getting robbed. We usually get called after they get robbed because the person has now left and now they pick up the phone. But you send a bunch of officers out and then you're sitting there not knowing what's happening. So it gets a little stressful. Although I would rather sit there and not hear anything because that typically means they're just talking to the clerk and they're, you know, looking around the area. I would rather hear nothing than hear officers running and chasing and like breathlessly into the microphone. So I'd rather hear crickets. But yeah, 2, and we had a couple of other big things happen, and then just stupid annoying people, you know, people who just can't get along, and they just keep coming up, and we keep having to go there, and oh, it's just dumb. But yeah. So the other thing was, I swore, because there should be 3 people on my shift, because it's the busiest shift. And now there's only going to be 2 all the time, because we did our bids for the annual bids, and we're short people now on our shift. We have 2 new people, but they're just starting training, so it's going to be a while before they get released. At least, though, even while they're training on our shift, they can still answer the phone and do, you know, some things to help out, but there were 3 of us on. Now it's, like I said, it's going to be 2 anyway, so it doesn't really matter at this point. But the days there were 3 of us, and this has no rhyme or reason because it's not particular days of the week. We're on a 4-on, 2-off schedule. It's not the same days of the week. The days there were 3 of us, we would spend a lot of time just, you know, looking at each other, goofing off. I'd be reading a book. They'd be watching football, whatever they're, you know, whatever we're doing. Then the 2 days I worked with just one girl, it seemed like it was so crazy busy, and not just because there was a less person, right? Like, the phone not ringing versus 3 lines ringing at the same time and 2 911 lines is not my imagination, right? This is really happening. So the other day I was just curious. So the last 4 days I was paying more attention. And let me just give you an example. And these are calls for service. So these are actual things that were responded to by police or fire or ambulance. This does not mean actual phone calls received or people in the lobby, because sometimes we don't actually enter them into the computer because it was resolved and it doesn't actually need a response from anybody else. So these are only things that got entered into the computer that got a response. The days where it was 3 of us, we had 40 to 50 calls for service. The days when there were 2 of us, we had 80 to 90. That is not my imagination, is it? That's actually data that makes, so it really was busier the days that there were only 2 of us. And like I said, it's got no rhyme or reason. It's not particular days of the week. And it wasn't even snowing out. Like sometimes when it's weather related, that, it's because it's weather related, people are getting into more car accidents, there's power lines down or whatever. But it was actually fine weather, so I don't know what the deal is, but oh god, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because like the day before there's 3 of us and we're just doodling our thumbs. Then the next day there's 2 of us and we're ripping our hair out, and I was like, oh. So yeah, glad to be on my 2 days off right now. And that's probably it for this episode. We do have a knit night tonight. This episode won't be out before then, but that should be fun. And I think what I'm going to do now is go get the other bin and clean out my closet. So if this episode never sees the light of day, it's because I got buried under a pile of yarn and fiber and couldn't get out. No, it's not that bad. It is that bad, but it's not that bad. And then maybe I can start doing some spinning and stuff when I can actually clean out some of this room so I can actually pull things out and find things, and that would be awesome. So, yeah, if you're interested in the convertible mitts, those should be up soon for test knitting on the Delusional Knitter Designs board. And then I'm not sure what I'm going to work on after that. I have a couple of ideas. I have some more shawls and stuff. But like I said, I do want to finish that penguin pillow and a sockhead hat for a gift, so I'm probably not going to do another design for several weeks. Yeah. And I think that's it. So I thank you for joining me. Happy knitting and spinning.